The power of TikTok is, like you were saying in your speech, these algorithms know us better than we know
It's
us.
scary.
And when you look at someone else's FYP, you're going to learn a lot about them.
Local service businesses, today you're going to learn how to use social media as your search engine. And we have Austin Armstrong, who has millions of followers on social media. And we're going to talk about techniques that are going to help your local service business. He's got 600,000 subs on YouTube, 1 million on Facebook. He had 900,000 on TikTok, but he said to regrow that. 100,000 on Threads. He owns a SaaS company that actually helps you repurpose video in the way we talk about called Syllabi. Go check it out. But Austin, so awesome to see you in Charlotte.
Dennis,
in your hometown.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm glad we could finally meet. I could see this guy speak. He's an absolute legend. I've been following, connecting with you for a long time. I've learned a lot from you and
appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you.
I've been following this guy on Facebook for years, and I got kind of jealous because he would get thousands of likes. And I always wondered, like, how do you do that? Like, what has been the key for your growth? And then what has been the business impact that you've seen from doing that?
Yeah. So there's different content funnels, right? There's at the very top, the engagement, awareness oriented funnels that are going to get the most engagement, likes, shares, the over 10% that we talked about earlier today. And that's really just to bring people into your ecosystem a little bit. And then in the middle, you have the sort of awareness consideration stage where you're warming them up. You're creating different pieces of content showing case studies and examples and analytics and behind the scenes and really actionable advice. And then at the bottom of the funnel, there's the conversion oriented content, the FOMO content, I have a limited time offer on this thing. I'm only helping this amount of people. I have this new thing. And so I focus a lot of my efforts on that broad awareness oriented piece of the pie, because all boats rise with the tide. And I've seen this across every social media platform. On TikTok, for instance, so many business owners hit that 250 view cap. They can't get out of that, right? Yeah. Well, if you just have a couple somewhat viral videos that still bring in your target ICP, your target demographic, and maybe you have, 100,000 followers at that point, tens of thousands of followers, that baseline now goes up from 250 to maybe 2,500. And so even though that's, significantly lower than the 100,000 view, you're still reaching 10x more people. I've made millions of dollars off of organic social media from lead generation and customer acquisition for my own agency. Syllabi has done a million in a year, which has been just an amazing experience for a first-time SaaS startup founder.
You're doing great.
Truly, truly blessed. But it all is in that sort of funnel, if you will. And I post content probably more than I should. I'm borderline addicted. That's the unspoken reality here, that I don't schedule anything. Everything that I post is manually me. I don't have any VAs on any of my social media. I use VAs for some editing and whatnot, but everything I post,
I see you post like 3 or 4 times on Facebook, and you'll have these inspirational sorts of quotes and you get thousands of likes on it. But let's say that I'm a restoration contractor in San Antonio and I'm there where there's flood damage. And I just want to drive more leads in San Antonio. How do I make something that drives the phone to ring in San Antonio when there's residential flooding, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, getting involved...
And I'm not an influencer, right?
Yeah.
I'm not Austin Armstrong.
Well, I think getting involved in the community can actually generate a lot of leads. There's the educational component of what you can do to prevent flooding damage in your home, different educational types of content that you can create at that point. But I think really giving back to the community is a big differentiator of why someone would contact you in the first place. If there was a lot of flood damage in San Antonio and you're actually going out helping the community, volunteering your time, just wearing a branded shirt or something, they're going to see more of you in the community and they're going to know, like, and trust you, which is one of the most important aspects. And so then they're going to check out your website. They're going to check out your social media. They're going to check out, all of these pieces of content that you have online. And if you make it really easy for them to, go down that content funnel even more and contact you and make it really easy process, that's really what is going to generate more clients and leads.
So what do you think about home service businesses where it's normally driven by a Google search because it's an emergency plumber or you locked your keys out of the car, right? Emergency locksmith, or there's the flood, or, traffic ticket, or like something happened. And most people think you got to go to Google to search that. What is the way to think about social media for that, say, emergency plumber?
Yeah.
And then how do they, what kind of content do they make? How do they think about the ROI?
Yeah. So social media is a search engine, contrary to maybe popular belief, but not even really anymore. TikTok openly says that they are a search engine. They have all of the same elements now, or a lot of the same elements that Google has. People also search. They're putting generative AI answers in the TikTok search results now. You can add location specific tags, not only on TikTok, but on Facebook, on Instagram as well. I'm not sure offhand if you can add them on YouTube. I'm not sure location specific tags, but it's much quicker to get traction on social than it is in SEO. You can turn paid ads on, but SEO, depending on how competitive a particular thing, it can take months, sometimes years, to really rank up there. And so you can make a video on a particular, here's how to get open your locked car. Here's a secret hack that you can do, do bop, and turn ads on that immediately in your specific location area and start to reach people. People are going to search for that information. And again, like you could have a single call to action in there. You can have contact information in your bio.
Yeah.
And it's just continuing to show up and creating patient education in any industry, service-based businesses. I mean, our mutual friend, Roger Wakefield, shout out to Roger.
Yeah.
The absolute master of this. I mean, he has, I think he's got more subscribers. I think he's got over 600,000 subscribers on YouTube now. Or he's, crushing it. But he really based that off of SEO terms, how to do X, Y, and Z on your toilet to fix your plumbing, specific products, comparing this product to that product. And, Plumber Reacts videos have exploded for him. And these are all things that make him, you type in plumber on YouTube and Roger's everywhere.
Well, he also has 4 video studios and he's prolific, but
Roger's a beast.
And then Roger Wakefield says he's just a plumber, but that guy makes a ton of content, live streams every weekend, all that. But what if someone really is just a plumber and they're kind of camera shy and don't want to do all the social media, TikTok, singing, dancing kind of stuff? What is their approach if they don't want to be out there? Maybe, their family is private to them. They're not the outgoing personality, but there's got to be some path without being Gary Vaynerchuk or Roger Wakefield, right?
Yeah. Well, now with AI, there's quite a few different ways that you can do this. Firstly, you could hire an actor or something, and maybe that's, not going to come across the same way, but like my company, Syllabi, I'll just shamelessly plug it a little bit. You can create one video of yourself one time. And now these are talking headshot videos. The AI is not going to be you actually doing the thing, fixing a toilet,
right?
For instance, or anything
not yet.
Like that. Not yet. Not yet. It's probably coming. Who knows what Sora is going to lead into. Sora is going to be crazy. But you can essentially record yourself one time. And then you can find all of the questions and keywords and topics that people are searching for, even in your area as well. You could, type in plumbing Charlotte and it'll show you all of the questions associated with plumbing and Charlotte. And then you can generate a video script and choose your avatar.
All in his tool, Syllabi.
All in my tool. There's a lot of tools out there that can help you with individual components of this. We've really tried to streamline this entire process. I've worked with service-based businesses for 10 years in video marketing.
When I Google something and then Google says, so I type in, HVAC or, broken air conditioner Las Vegas in Google. And then it says, people also ask, what does it cost? When should I repair the thing? Like, does your script generate kind of the same thing that Google would tell me if I do a search?
So we pull in from Keywords Everywhere and SEMrush. So we actually pull in the real-time search data. So real questions that people are searching for, we show you the cost per click, if it's trending up or down. But now with Keywords Everywhere as well, we pull in the data and information from Instagram, from X, from Pinterest, from Quora, from all of these platforms. So you can see what people are searching for across all of these platforms.
What have you noticed is different? That's interesting because I've taken a very heavy Google approach because, Roger started the areyougooglable.com. So we've used mainly Google data, but what have you noticed differences in terms of like the searches you see on social?
Yeah, it's more, it's such a good question. A lot more comparisons, I would say, because people are visual learners as well. There's a lot more comparisons, I would say.
And a lot of, I don't know if this stat is true. You've heard that there are more searches on TikTok by Gen Zers than there are on Google. that they're
It
using
is-
TikTok
it
more
is
than
the
Google.
primary
I've
search
heard that
engine
so
of
many
Gen
times.
Z. And I love that
And Gen
people
Zs have
use it.
told me this, but I can't even, maybe I'm just old.
I mean, no, you're not old. But I find myself doing this as well. I was just in Martha's Vineyard for a family vacation this past week. And like, if you think about this, not even just in home services, but, you know, I don't think any Gen Z's talking about their you know, fixing their roof or anything yet, because they're Gen Z. They can, you know.
Yeah.
But a great example is like best places to eat in XYZ city, best bars for millennials. I'm a millennial, right? And so like what I love about TikTok is you will see a visual example of someone going to that specific location and saying, hey, order this thing on the menu. Here's exactly what it looks like. Here's, you know, ask the bartender for the secret menu item. And you can get reviews on TikTok now too. They pull in reviews from Google. They pull in all kinds of information.
But that's like restaurants and entertainment sorts of things. But what about, you know, boring home services?
There's so many,
landscaping and roofing and plumbing and HVAC.
Oh
right?
my gosh, landscaping's huge. Roger's got, you know, back to Roger. Roger's got almost 1 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
Landscaping is huge. I love watching before and after big backyard projects. You know, $100,000 plus $1 million backyard projects. Before and after is the easiest content that anybody can do in this space. Here's a backyard. Here's the scope. Unfinished Basements, New Jersey, as well as another one I'll quickly shout out. Love those guys. Did some consulting work with them. But they finish basements in New Jersey. They get $100,000, $250,000 projects, completely renovating basements. And they'll take you through, you know, here's the scope of the basement. Here's the floor plan. The owner wanted a secret man cave door to a library. He wanted X, Y, and Z. And then they show you the before and the after, the entire process.
Like reality TV show kind of.
Like, exactly. Think HGTV in less than 60 seconds, which is ambitious.
Tell a whole story. Are they running ads?
I'm sure they are. But you know, the power of TikTok is, like you were saying in your speech, these algorithms know us better than we know us.
It's scary.
And yeah, when you look at someone else's FYP, you're going to learn a lot about them.
Yeah.
And so they know that, you know, there's like, I get served unfinished basement content because I, you know, have a lower level floor and I'm a man and I engage with a lot of this stuff. I love a secret door in a basement. Like, who doesn't? I think that's super cool. And I one day want a secret door to a movie theater room or something like that. And so I watched this video, a speakeasy in my house. I watch videos like that to get future inspiration. And so I see a lot more of that.
Yeah.
And so you saw they were the first one to come to my mind. Even though they service in New Jersey primarily, if I offered them $250,000, hey, can you guys, you know, find a contractor in North Carolina? I trust you. They're the first ones that I think about. I don't know any other, you know, basement refurnishers. There's some other, you know, backyard renovation companies. The same thing with plumbing. Like, I know Roger. If I was in Texas and I needed a plumber, I'm not even going to go to the reviews.
Right.
I might not even ask a family member. I trust Roger. I'm going to go to Roger. And so that's why it's sort of that, like, the halo effect, I believe, right? You develop with celebrities. The same is the case with content. When you consistently watch content and you get value from it, the know, like, and trust are the first person that comes to mind. Same thing with real estate agents. Real estate agents crush it. They get so many leads on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, because they're showing house tours. And here's what $500,000 can get you in you know, San Antonio, Texas, for instance. And they're top of mind. And so it's all about staying top of mind. But
it's wild.
Yeah.
So your Unfinished Basements, New Jersey guy, I would imagine that TikTok would show this to people who have unfinished basements everywhere in the US. And only some of those are actually in New Jersey. Because I have a friend who does chiropractic stuff. He's got millions of followers.
Yeah.
He's in Dallas.
Okay.
And there are people that fly into Dallas to see him kind of for the celebrity effect. But 99% of the people that watch, when we look at his analytics, are not from Dallas.
Yep.
My friend Landry, she runs the marketing for a refueling company. They do the like diesel trucks where emergency generators. They do it for Tesla. They do it for Belfor, which is like the biggest restoration company, like the big companies out there. And when you type in, you know, refueling truck, mobile refueling, Los Angeles, or whatever random city, their company is ranked in the top, even though they don't service those cities. But they've developed a new line of business where they're actually referring those leads
I love
out.
it.
So
It's so good.
if you are in some category and for some reason you just don't want to do what Austin's talking about, even though we think you should, find who the person is. They're probably not in your city, but they dominate on the, one-day bathrooms or whatever the thing is that, custom pools, whatever the thing is that you want to do. And then you can just buy leads from them. If that lead comes into your city, because they're doing it just for their city, right?
Such a good business model.
Then you just pay them the 10% or 15%.
Absolutely.
It's like money you would have paid the local service ads. You just paid directly to that other person, and now there's a
qualified lead.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with that in some industries, though. I work
legal,
in the drug rehab industry. You can't do that there.
No. Lawyers, though, the rules have changed on that.
Yeah. You ever seen any Jay Omas content yet? Oh my gosh, this is the real life Better Call Saul.
Right? Oh no,
you got to check it. Oh my gosh, this guy's his content. He just blew up. He's a lawyer. I don't even know what state he's in, but he immediately comes up because this guy gets the worst criminals off, and you don't know how. And the content is just, he's standing there and he's like, who's the best lawyer? And they're like, Jay Omas. And they're like, what were you charged with? He's like, murdering my baby. And he's like, what? How long were they going to give you? He's like, 20 years to life.
Yeah.
And what do you get now? 2 weeks of probation. And then he shows the dismissal.
Yeah.
The paper, the dismissal. And you're like, this guy killed his child. And
how do you get clients to say that? But okay.
You got to watch this guy's content. But people are contacting him from all over the country now. It's insane. It's insane. He got he's like 1.5 million TikTok followers in like 6 months.
So you kind of have to do something outrageous then on TikTok. The secret thing, or the like you're saying.
Capture attention really quick. In short form content, you can't say, "Hi, my name is Dennis Yu. I'm an original search engine engineer, and in this video, I'm going to share the 5 things that you don't know about." You've already lost them.
So if we were to promote this thing to get people to watch, what would you say? Because we'll turn that into a little ad snippet to drive people into this episode.
Let's see. Here's how you can get your service-based business more clients in 3 minutes.
3 minutes. I like that. Yeah. I'm sure Syllabi can come up with some scripts for us.
1 minute to shoot, 1 minute to edit, 1 minute to post.
Cool. So for those home service businesses that don't have a lot of time, what do they need to know about what you're saying? How social is their search engine? What do they need to know?
Create content around what your customers or prospective customers are searching for. It's as simple as that. There's a great content strategy or structure that we've really mastered over the last. We've been doing this with therapists and behavioral health experts for 10 years, and it's such a popular style now. Like, I can't take full credit for it, but I kind of will. Have someone hold a camera, an iPhone, Android phone, whatever, walk in on you as the expert, ask that long tail keyword question, and you immediately answer that question. The person behind the camera acts as the viewer on the phone on TikTok. The opening hook is them asking you the question, and you immediately answer it. We've done this with some of the largest drug and alcohol treatment centers. We've done this with lawyers. We've done this with medical doctors, podiatrists. And,
that's how you get on the claims and that whole thing.
You even pre-qualify. So like we have Dr. B, for instance. We say, hey, Dr. B, what's the easiest way to get off of Suboxone, for instance, right? You pre-qualify with doctor. He's sitting in a medical office in a white lab coat. There's all of these subconscious things going on. The question is immediately asked. He immediately responds with the answer that is, addressing a really core problem. And you gain a lot of trust that way.
But all under a minute, the whole thing.
Typically under,
But you have to edit that carefully or no?
Yeah, we edit a lot, and there's a lot of takes that go into it as well. Like, don't expect one take, but it's a format that just really works. And
well, how do I know if it's
really
working?
simple.
Let's say I follow your process. I use Syllabi, I generate scripts. I make these videos. I'm getting some likes and shares, but I'm not really getting many patients or clients. How do I know how to adjust or what to change? Or maybe I just suck at social media.
Well, you also want to adjust how you're capturing those leads as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually generate leads. And, link in bio tools are fantastic for having multiple options. We've worked with, I'm not going to name drop, but we worked with the largest drug and alcohol treatment center in America.
It's not AAC.
It is
we have a lot of common friends.
Okay. I created their TikTok account. I grew them to 150,000 subscribers and all their YouTube channels.
Yeah.
So they have, since it's out there, in their bio, and it's still in there are about 6 different lead generation methods. that they
I didn't realize you were the one behind that. That's masterful.
Thank you. Yeah. So the whole strategy, and you'll see that content is exactly what I just described.
Yeah.
The cameraman goes to the doctor, asks the question, and we drive them to the bio. So they have a TikTok specific page, which is like Q&A information on there with more information from the doctor, and there's lead generation forms on there. They have their own AI chatbot, for instance, and that AI chatbot asks you specific questions about types of addiction and whatnot.
You not worried about compliance? Or that thing making a wrong recommendation?
They're so big, you know, if you, AAC
I'm surprised they let you do that.
I mean, there's disclaimers everywhere, but yeah, I mean, so, and there's an ebook, right? And then you put your email in for the ebook, and then you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I mean, in the addiction space, I can confidently say I'm the best video marketer in the addiction treatment space, period, in the world. Because I've grown every account that you've probably seen in the addiction treatment.
That's a flex.
That's my expertise. That's because I've been in the behavioral health marketing space for 10, 11 years at this point.
And Neil Patel was renting the bios on Instagram, people.
Oh my gosh.
I was hanging out with him and he told me these secrets, which I'm not going to tell the rest of them, but there's some dirty sorts of things occurring.
Oh, there's so many. Yeah. Oh, I could go down rabbit hole. Yeah. They banned like PO boxes. So like when Legit Script certification came out, you have to be like, in order to advertise on a lot of these platforms. So what companies were doing was they were setting up PO boxes to have physical addresses to get the like Google verification, and then you can apply for the Legit Script certification and all of that. They've caught on to that quite a lot now, but there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on in that industry still, unfortunately. I don't see it as a game, right? Like that information literally helps people's lives. It saves lives.
Literally,
like that's why I do what I do. Like I help them go viral and they get into the treatment center. But for me, it's not how many, a verification of benefits that are run, even though that's their main KPI. There are so many emails, phone calls, comments that say this content literally saved my life, saved my daughter's life, saved my son's life, saved my spouse's life. Like that's why I love, working in that industry in particular.
Now you've successfully run an agency to the point where you're helping other agencies and you have a SaaS company because you've figured out kind of the model that you can automate. What advice do you have for a young adult in 2024 that is starting an agency helping local service businesses? They know something about social media, but they don't really understand, choose a niche like drug and alcohol rehab or lawn care or pool or what kinds of wisdom would you have for these folks who are just starting? Maybe, some of the mistakes or things that you've learned in your journey.
Yeah. I mean, can always continue to learn. I mean, in that
I tell them, right?
I mean, it is really important to start with a niche. And then like if somebody from another industry contacts you and you genuinely can see the strategy, you are confident that you can help them, don't just take their money or take them for the sake of taking their money, right? Like make sure, because it doesn't always work out in organic. But if you are confident that like, I see a strategy, I know that I can help these people if we do the X, Y, and Z, work with them. Stick with a niche, keep creating content, create content. First of all, I don't care how nervous or scared you are, shut up. If you want to grow, I hate cold calling and I hate outbound sales. Just keep making content, talking to your target ICP. There's been times where I've just had a YouTube video from a year ago or multiple years ago, but it was published at that time on drug rehab SEO strategies, and to talk about the skyscraper strategy and pillar content strategy and whatnot. We've been name dropping people, there's a big agencies in that space, like Dreamscape Marketing is a huge marketing agency that specializes in the drug and alcohol treatment space. They go to all the conferences. I've been hired several times by CEOs to come in as an outside consultant to look at what Dreamscape has been doing, for instance, because they saw my videos on YouTube and on TikTok, and because they resonate with my messaging. And so by continuing to become an expert in a particular niche and continuing to show up and building case studies, I mean, other things that you can do too is get your foot in the door. If you're young, you're just getting started, don't be afraid to eat for a little bit. I was an unpaid intern for a couple months, and then I became a paid intern, and then a part-time, and then a full-time employee. And then it led me to become actually working at drug and alcohol treatment centers, building up my expertise in that particular industry. And then I started my own agency that focused on that area. But say if you're confident in what you're doing, and no matter what industry that you want to focus on, contact some customers and say, this is what I do. I specialize in your industry. Let me just do some magic for you for 30 days for free, no cost.
Yeah.
And if you like it, let's continue. Let's figure a price out. Here's what I typically charge. What would sound fair to you to get started? Maybe we can hit some specific KPIs and then, and then renegotiate. When you're just getting started, if you're a young professional in particular, like, you don't need to shoot for the moon immediately. Like, you play the long game.
Just get one. Just get one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure when you started and you had your first drug alcohol treatment center, you didn't think like, I'm going to become the rehab king.
No.
But it just sort of became that, right?
And there's so many, there's great, you mentioned great lessons too. Like, one of the early things I learned in that industry is like, there's kind of like a tax on that industry because it's such a lucrative industry that they almost won't take you seriously if you don't charge a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
And so like when I was very inexperienced, I was like, oh, that's how I'm going to get a big dog. And so we sent proposals out at ridiculous prices that really weren't justified. And there was no real expertise in that space. I couldn't really back it up, but I thought this would have, and I got called out a couple of times that they're like, you're adding a tax on this because of this industry. And so like, those were harsh lessons that are embarrassing, but you learn from them.
Yeah. Incredible. So what are other nuggets of advice for other agency owners? Like, where's this agency space going because of AI?
Well, AI, I think, will enhance agencies in so many different ways. Content strategies, content publishing, analyzing what type of content is performing the best. If you're writing blog articles, let it do a lot of the work for you. And I'm not saying copy and paste, right? But like, maybe help it do the outline.
Yeah.
Maybe help, get a first draft, and then you go in and you really customize it and add the brand voice and the tonality and the expertise and the experience in there as well, so that it not only passes all of the AI detectors, but it's a format that works and it saved you countless hours. Yeah. There's so many tools out there. I mean, I cover thousands of AI tools and
I don't even know how you keep up. That's incredible.
All right. I have a directory that we keep track of them all, but I mean, there's so many amazing things. Descript is another one that comes to mind. I was talking to a lady in there about it. What Descript, like,
that's my favorite.
Really simple AI method is like you can load your video in there and it pulls the transcript and you can search for or any specific word and you can just delete all of that and it automatically edits the video. Yeah. And they have like overdub in there, right?
Where you can, I'm their example for overdub. You go look at the feature. There's my thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So like that's a great tool. I mean, there's amazing tools like Opus Clip.
Oh yeah.
Right now that like if you make long form content, you're like, we can take this video afterwards, put the URL into Opus or upload the file, and Dennis has 30 viral ready TikTok videos under 1 minute that are ready to rock and roll. And it takes no additional work. And you can offer that as an upsell to your clients.
Or just use CapCut. Be old fashioned like me.
I
other
love
folks.
CapCut.
Premiere Pro, even if you really want to go that far.
I love CapCut. I used CapCut for a year, and then I finally started to pay for it because I'm just getting so much value out of it. Yeah.
So you just spoke on stage here in DigimarCon, and the feedback was tremendous. People absolutely loved you. People were coming up to you.
Yeah, it was great.
I could tell. What advice do you have for other people that they want to become a proficient public speaker like you or me?
Speaking was always a dream of mine. And so I really played the long game to get to that point. I started paving that road 10 years ago by going to conferences and studying speakers like Dennis, really noticing not only how people are speaking on stage, and I'm still learning. I'm listening to a great book right now, Limitless, and Jim Quick, and some of the strategies that and I'll circle it back, but like, to remember names more, keep bringing those names in. And I was noticing you continuing to bring people's names from.
You got to say it 3 times.
You got to say it multiple times.
Yeah.
What's your name? Kim? Kim. Got it. Kim. Here's the thing, like Kim, Kim. Right. And so strategies like that, really breaking down and studying speakers and like literally notepads of not what they're talking about, but
the
notes.
Technique.
The technique. Absolutely.
So what are some of the top techniques that you notice? Because you've done a lot of studying.
If you're trying to sell in a speech, getting them to consistently say yes throughout. Yeah. Yes. Can I get a yes? Yes. The best sellers are the ones that get you to say yes 30 times throughout. Yeah. So by the time that they're like, I have a limited time offer. Run to the back of the room right now
Yeah.
for only the first 100 people. And like, I do find that a little sleazy,
Yeah.
but it just works. I mean,
It does.
And-
Infomercials have always worked.
100%. If you've seen a ClickFunnels speaker, you know that you can, I see it happen in real time, and they sell their package at the end at the events. There's different things like that, but you know, settling in, and I love to get to the conferences a day or, well, like if I'm speaking on day 2, I will always typically show up on day 1, and I will talk to people and I will network with people because I love referencing things and people that I spoke to that are just attendees, that we were just chatting out in the networking.
It's empathetic.
And just pulling them
through.
in. Pulling them in. Like I talked to Kennedy, who was
at the end there.
volunteer.
I saw that.
It's a great example. We were all out at the bar last night and we were chatting. And Kennedy was awesome. And I was like, what do you do? She says this. And I said, I'm going to shout you out tomorrow. And she said, oh, I'll be there. I'm going to watch your stage. And she was passing the microphone around. And I said, shout out to Kennedy, everybody. Give her a round of applause.
Treat the staff nice. Yeah.
Treat the staff nice. But like people in the audience too, they're there for their whatever reason that they're there for, to learn, to study the speakers, to get value, to network, to get clients, whatever. Right. Yeah. And so that is, you kind of settle in a lot because there's so much brain overload. Yeah. There's nothing sweeter than someone's name to their ears. Right. Yeah. And so if you can say, that person's name and recall, something that you talked to them earlier, that is so powerful because they're going to instantly forget every distraction and talk exclusively.
They remember that one part.
They remember that one part, and it's just repetition. I mean, I started doing free webinars, invites for potential clients, just info sessions. Like, here's what I'm learning of digital marketing and social media. Come for free just to practice my skill. Yeah. Yeah. And then I started just shooting my shot. I started talking to people online, doing podcasts, and one conference in particular, video marketing world. I sent a DM. I'd gone to the conference several years before. And I said, Scott, I've been to your conference. I've learned so much from it. I noticed you haven't had a TikTok speaker at your video marketing conference. I've been growing a lot. I have 50,000 followers on TikTok. If you're ever interested in a TikTok speaker, I would love to be considered. And he said, let me get you on the podcast. Let's chat about it. Let's see what you know.
It's a great dry run to podcast.
Great dry run. Mike Stelzner does it this way too for social marketing.
He does a double podcast. He always interviews you first as a full podcast before the podcast. Yes. Most people don't know. That's why his podcasts are so good. It's already kind of scripted.
Yeah, it's so good. Go over all
but it's twice as much effort for him.
But that's why he's got the top. So
that's why he's got millions of subscribers. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, top podcast. But it's just playing that long game. And so he said, yes, I was invited to be a TikTok panel speaker at Video Marketing World. Yeah. You do a good job. You deliver. They invited me back as a standalone speaker on TikTok. I leveraged that to speak at other amazing events. I love speaking, and this was always a dream. And, when you're just getting started too, like, shoot your shot. Don't be afraid to say, like, it is my dream to be a public speaker. I would love this opportunity. If you're looking for additional speakers, let me know. Yeah. People want to help people.
Yeah. And the chicken and egg is that when you have a reputation, like Austin talked about kind of the stepping stone thing. It's like, first base all the way up to like home run, the podcast to the webinar to, panel to like the big keynote eventually. Yeah. I knew in advance that Austin was going to crush it here because of his reputation, because I've seen him speak, because of all the people that we have in common, because of his knowledge base, because of his achievements, because of all these other things. And thus, because he's built that social cred and reputation and that experience, I am basically taking my time and my money to promote him.
Thank you, Dennis. That means a lot.
But I say thank you to you because me being associated with this guy, and I reference you like 8 times in my speech.
Yeah.
That actually makes me look good. And here's the psychology most people don't understand about public speaking or influence or social media. When I elevate people like Austin, and Austin just shares all these gold nuggets completely freely, even though Austin was the one who said all those things, the credit comes to me because I'm the one interviewing. So I don't have to be super knowledgeable. And I learned this the hard way. You probably already knew this. Like, it took me 10, 15 years to learn this fact. When you interview other people without regard for yourself, the audience confers their awesomeness to you. So I've interviewed some really cool people And other people will tell me how amazing I am because I've been with these other people. I'm like, I just interviewed these people. I didn't really know anything.
Yeah. Another great thing I'll add on to that as well, sort of a secret strategy. I learned this from Roger didn't tell me, but I study Roger. I study everybody at these conferences. If you see Roger, where does Roger sit at conferences?
At the front.
Front and center.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why.
Because he gets the person on stage to anchor him. And
every time I've noticed he sits there. And he's always in brand and all that. Every time.
The speaker will, if they know you,
shout him out.
The speaker will shout you out constantly. And I noticed that happened to Roger all the time.
Yeah.
So I started sitting front and center at every.
Oh, that's smart.
And so 70% of the time, if I know the speaker, I've built a relationship prior.
That's why you sat at the front table when I spoke. How many times did I shoot you? Yeah, I shot you out so many times. Yeah.
But I was front and center all day.
Okay.
And I don't know any of those speakers. Now I'm ingrained. I love sitting front and center.
Okay.
But there is a strategy. If you're looking to become a speaker and you are speaking, that's a great strategy because it also hypes your event up.
That's good.
The speakers will, I've never really shared that before.
That's a small world thing. Wow.
It can go, yeah. Because if you network with a lot of the same marketers, which everyone's great people. Everyone wants to lift each other up.
Right.
It's not like I'm abusing the power. It's not that. Everyone
There's plenty of goals. Yeah.
But like when you're on stage too, like you anchor to what you know a little bit. You know the content, of course, but it's a strategy to get the crowd involved. And so if you are someone that's relevant to what they're talking about as an example, they will shout you out. And if you speak later, you will bring more people to your conference because all of the other speakers are talking about you.
Already pre-promoted you.
Yes.
That's good. Any other final last words? It's hard to get better than that one.
Just do it. Just do it. Get out of your own way. Perfection is procrastination.
Austin Armstrong, Syllabi, one of the
Thank you, Dennis.
pro guru, icon, legend, OG social media marketers.
I appreciate you, brother.
Where can people find you?
I'm easy to find. Austin Armstrong. And I am the Socialty Pro Syllabi Austin Armstrong. I am not the football or the Christian influencer Austin Armstrong. Syllabi Socialty Pro. You'll find me on any platform that you like.
But soon you're going to search Austin Armstrong and he's going to rank #1.
I'm going to leveraging his strategies.
I'm going to
make it happen.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Love to hear your comments, thoughts, questions you have for Austin or myself. We're always checking the comments. Of course, this is being repurposed into a YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blog posts from some high authority sites and whatnot. So wherever you are engaging, me as a real human being, not an AI, is listening to your feedback so we can create better content and serve you guys.
This is actually my avatar.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another edition of the Coach U Show where we interview the best people who are doing the thing that they're doing and showing you exactly how. See you soon.